Be sure to follow our podcast on these available platforms.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nocturnal Movie Club. I'm joined by my esteemed co-hosts, Jake King and Ethan Singh. May the 4th be with you all. We are talking today.
Also with
you.
Blessings. Let the 4th be with you. We are talking about Star Wars.
We are fully decked out in Star Wars merch.
Let's bring that up. This is my Baby Yoda gear. Thank you to
Very cool.
To the great guys at RS Belts for sending this to me. Thank you, guys.
Ooh, nice, dude.
Little product placement.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
For all the great Yoda gear, some more Mandalorian gear. But thank you, guys.
Oh, I'm jealous, guys. Send me some of those too. What the hell?
Let me finish plugging the fashion show. Some more yoga shirts. Thank you, guys. All right.
Pretty cool.
Now that the advertising's over, let's get into the Star Wars. We got a lot to discuss.
May the 4th is around the corner. You guys want to start off with the drama going on with May the 4th? There's a bit of drama going on.
Absolutely.
Well, tell us the drama. Tell us all this drama you said.
So Star Wars tweeted out a poster, a big whole thing like get ready for all the deals coming out for Star Wars video games, movies, all that memorabilia junk. And they had a poster. They had episodes 4, 5, and 6 heavily in display. They had Clone Wars stuff all over it. Ahsoka Tano was in there even. And then people were like, oh, that's crazy, though. You guys forgot to put anything or any piece of memorabilia from episodes 7, 8, and 9. Episodes 1 to 6 are there. Just nothing from anything after that. And people are starting to get upset. Proving that Star Wars fans to me are the hardest people to please. The sequels are trash, and they're trying to erase that. And now they're trying to erase that. People are like, why? Why would you forget that?
I mean, I don't think they're going to erase it, but I mean,
they're brushing it under the rug of just like, let's just move past it. Let's not build on that or those characters.
Yeah, you can't erase these movies.
Yeah.
They're in our consciousness forever now.
And they did confirm it's going to be permanent canon. They're not gonna erase it from canon. That's true, but like everything they're doing in their future is just like it happened, but we don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I guess it'll just be interesting when they finally do stories after this, how they address Rey and Finn and that whole crew, I guess. Because it's kind of, I mean, their stories are not over per se, but do we see, I guess there's no point of, I'm not sure where they go after this. Like,
yeah, because they don't really have the fan support to want to see these stories continue. So what's even the point?
I guess do we pick back up with a new trio? Do we pick back up 30 years later again? Like,
it would be a lot. It's a mess.
It's a mess, but like we're getting more movies soon. I just don't know. We just don't know what direction they're going in.
We don't even know what those movies would be because right now they confirmed no more movies upcoming or scheduled. It's just TV shows.
No, Taika has the movie confirmed. Taika's getting
wait, is that
at one point the Game of Thrones guys had a Star Wars trilogy to do as well?
No, that got axed.
Yeah, that axed. Right? Yeah, they're done.
Yeah,
and thank goodness because everyone is still mad at them.
Taika does have a film coming out, but not even a word of what it's going to be.
Yeah, no word. But he is getting a film.
He's definitely getting a movie, you're right. But yeah, no schedule. I think it's the only movie whatsoever they're talking about.
It's the only movie announced, and everything else is, I believe, all Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah.
Which is exciting because the Disney Plus stuff has been great. I mean, it's crazy because Marvel's already given us 2 shows, and Star Wars is like, at least I gave us 2 seasons, but not a second show yet. We're getting the Bad Batch, but it's animated, so
yeah.
Which I don't know if it counts as canon because
it definitely counts.
Yeah,
I mean, Clone Wars is canon. That's for
yeah,
sure.
Clone Wars is canon.
Yeah.
It's weird to go back and forth like between live action and animated and both be canon. It's odd.
It's weird, but I still think the TV approach for Star Wars is good. I mean, like even when George Lucas started Star Wars, he was super obsessed with like sci-fi serials and TV shows of that style. So I think like this kind of format fits TV really well.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but I thought I loved Falcon Winter Soldier and I love WandaVision, but I thought Mandalorian season 1 and 2 were both just better than that.
I don't know about better, but I definitely did enjoy it.
I did enjoy it. I think I enjoyed it more.
You know what's interesting about it too? Like I agree with what you're saying, Ethan. Like the TV series format is perfect for Star Wars right now because we can expand the universe slowly and gradually. Like with every episode that the Mandalorian was involved in, it's like we were going to a new town, meet new people, and
yeah,
I don't know, it just felt like it naturally progressed there.
And there's a couple like that's what the Ahsoka Tano show is going to continue to do, and she's awesome. The Ahsoka character is really cool.
Yeah.
And then you've got you got a couple of weird ones coming up too. You've got a Lando show coming up. I have no idea when that's going to take place.
Well, the Lando show I heard is going back and forth. It's going back and forth between his like where he is now and where we saw him in Solo. So it's going to be both Billy D and Donald, from what I'm hearing. That's what all the rumors are saying.
That's what I was wondering.
I've seen the same too, but like Billy D is kind of too old now.
Right, but also Donald's like hella busy, so I'm like, maybe it's a lot of maybe. I'm like, it could be good. I mean, Donald was great as Lando in Solo, one of the few highlights of that film.
The only one, right? I think the movie was not good. The movie was trash. I'd like to see him some more, but I don't know what would his stories be. Would his stories be good? I don't know.
Well, like he was like a high level thief, like so. I mean, it could be good. I guess it could be interesting. Like, there's no lore with Lando, I guess.
Yeah, they'd have to make it all up.
Yeah, so I mean, so there's a lot of room there for cool stuff. I guess Lando gets in all types of trouble, but like, I don't know. He's always been like a fan favorite, but so people,
the only black guy in the universe. That's the thing, right? Like I was telling Jake before the show started, episodes 4, 5, and 6, there's literally everybody else is just white or an alien. He's the only black guy in the entire galaxy.
Well, we have the Obi-Wan cast that was recently announced.
I think they're gonna start, adding a little more color into the cast.
Yeah, some color in there. We got O'Shea Jackson up in there. Ice Cube's son.
Nice. Yeah.
The cast for Obi-Wan is pretty stacked, actually. Let me pull it up.
Of all the upcoming things, including Mandalorian season 3, Ahsoka, I think Obi-Wan's show is going to be my favorite by far because when it comes to canon, like Obi-Wan is the only one of these shows that has a canon. I know OJ's like the big Marvel guy. I'm a big Star Wars guy. Like in the comics and in the graphic novels they published relating to Vader and Obi-Wan, even if you go into the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan has a whole like a romance arc. He falls in love with another person. He gets in there. It gets interesting. And even Anakin, which Hayden Christensen will come back and play, has this whole set of different episodes where he's hunting different Jedi, and he slowly becomes the Darth Vader. There's moments where he's still a human. He hasn't become the full evil guy yet, and he's slowly just devolving into a motionless robot.
Well, based off this cast, like you got Camille Nujani, you got Moses Ingram, Joel Edgerton, who I love, Indira Farmer from Game of Thrones, Bonnie Peace, also from the prequels. Joel, remember they played Luke's, I think brother. Who is he? I think his stepbrother.
Uncle?
Yeah, his aunt and uncle took him in.
Interesting.
So I'm curious. Oh, you got Sun Kong from the Fast series. So it's a really good cast. So we don't know who anyone is playing besides you and Hayden, Joel, and Bonnie, but I'm very curious to see what's happening here.
It's interesting. I think the only thing that like I'm worried about is that I don't think these two characters ever meet again canonically.
No, that's the part I
yeah.
don't get. Like, they don't meet again until
until episode 4
yeah, episode
when
4.
they meet again. Yeah.
Right.
Because
So then,
that's such a momentous moment where Darth Vader says the student has become the master. It's been many years, and Obi-Wan's like, you haven't learned a thing, you know, all that stuff. It's a really important scene. It's probably one of the most important scenes in that movie, and Obi-Wan dies.
But at the time, I guess, is he hunting Obi-Wan? Because he doesn't know Obi-Wan's alive, right?
He doesn't know Obi-Wan's alive, correct? But he's been hunting Jedi, like everyone that survived Order 66. He spends the next 30 years hunting them all down.
But it's not that many that survived, I thought.
Not that many at all, just a handful.
Yeah, a handful. And it's like, is Ahsoka showing up in this? I'm like,
well, that's the other thing, because he trained
young Luke.
Yeah. Young Luke would be weird, because young Luke is just a farmer, right? A farmer's son, essentially.
Young Leia, maybe.
Yeah. The problem is, like, how much of that CGI stuff are they going to be putting on the actors to make them look like the original Luke and Leia? Like, are they going to do that, or are they going to?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think CGI Luke won't be showing up until maybe Ahsoka, but I think Ahsoka's going to focus on probably getting like Ezra back or something, because we got Ezra from the Clone War, what was the show, the Clone War sequel that they did. Ezra. So they after they did the Clone Wars cartoon, they did another show. After that, it was
Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron. I believe it was, and that's where they had the Ezra character. So, if anything, I think at the end of that, he like disappeared into space somewhere. So I think she'll be on the hunt for him somehow.
That'll be interesting, because I'm not really sure where the Ahsoka character goes. I know she's a really cool character. I don't know that much about her. I know a lot of people are really into it, but it's interesting to see where it's going to go.
Well, she originated in the Clone Wars story.
Yeah, that's where she comes from. She was Anakin's Padawan.
I am your father. Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Did I just hear "I am your father"?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
that's what you heard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting, though, to see. I think it's going to be really cool to see the Obi-Wan series, because I do want to see more of how Darth Vader became Darth Vader, because there's so many cool scenes and moments from that comic book series.
Right.
And and there's a whole thing of
I don't think that series is no longer canon, though.
Yeah, I think they're actually going to cut that from canon. That's right. A lot of comic book and graphic novels are cut from canon now. But they're trying to incorporate some of it. I mean, because there's a show here as well.
Well, they're taking elements from the stuff that was canon, and then they're incorporating into the new canon timeline. Which is cool. They're taking stuff from every different. It's been tons and tons of books and comics published.
Hundreds, I think, at this point.
Yeah, hundreds over the last.
I mean, that's kind of like what Marvel's doing with the MCU. Like, they're taking elements of hundreds of comics and incorporating them into movies. Like Thor Ragnarok was practically Planet Hulk.
Yeah, it was like a mixture of like a few different storylines. Same thing with Civil War, and same thing where I'm sure we'll get with Secret Invasion. It'll be elements of different things.
And that's probably brings me to like the most interesting thing on the slate they have is the Acolyte, which is supposed to be set in the High Republic era, which the only
one Patty Jenkins is doing?
No, that's not the one Patty Jenkins.
Oh, she's also getting a film, by the way.
She's also getting one. Yeah. Is it a movie though?
It's a movie, yeah. She's getting a movie.
So this one is from Leslie Headland, who did a show called Russian Doll. Haven't seen that. Don't know.
Oh, which I've heard.
Have you seen that? I heard it's good, but
I heard it's really good, actually.
But it's really good. I know like diehard Star Wars fans are going to be loving to see this. I know I want to see this. The High Republic era is like a time period which we see very, very little about, but there is like tons of lore about.
I'm excited about it. There's tons of cool lore about that.
So it's going to be interesting. What is Patty Jenkins?
She's doing like a movie about like the fight, like about the fighter jet people, the people who fly the planes.
Oh right. Oh, the worst. Yeah. Like that's probably that is the second worst thing on the slate. The worst thing is A Droid Story. They thought like literally the idea is that like you know how you have Buzz and Woody in Toy Story.
Yeah.
What if instead of Buzz and Woody we had R2 and C-3PO, and we called it A Droid Story?
Is that a joke?
No, that's not a joke. That's like a real thing. This epic journey will introduce us to a new hero, guided by a legendary duo R2D2 and C3PO. Like that's literally like the whole idea. It's like Star Wars Toy Story, but instead of toys, it's droids.
Oh.
So what, are they not allowed to function around the humans?
Oh no, it's like a comedy animated.
Yeah, I think it's just for kids. It's like
a just for kids
one-off.
type of
Yeah.
It's animated.
Like this feels like something they would have come up with in the 80s or something, not now.
Yeah, that's by far the worst.
Well, it's not meant for us. It's like
it's not meant for us.
Yeah, it's not meant. It's like the little Groot special they're doing for MCU, where it's like really not, it's like nothing special. It's just for the kids and stuff.
They've got their own animated series like Visions, which is supposed to be like for anime fans, which is like cool fighting stuff.
It's kind of like a what if in a way.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool. I think I'm really into that if they do the art style, right?
Right, and it's all anime style, which is interesting.
I'm a big anime fan, sort of. I like it. But Jake, talk to us about the drama at Lucasfilms, because I know it's been an interesting journey. Last I heard, Bob Iger was disappointed with Kathleen Kennedy's doing and has kind of just put her in a locker and said, "We're not going to fire you, but we're not going to give you too much control over things." But that is old news. How's things going now?
Well, since The Last Jedi was released, I've been watching a lot of the YouTube channel Midnight's Edge, and they do a lot of behind-the-scenes scoops on TV shows and movies, and they've been covering extensively what they've been told through insiders that they have at Lucasfilm. Apparently, Lucasfilm is divided into two sections. There's one with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni as they work on The Mandalorian and all these shows, and then there's Kathleen Kennedy and the one that did Russian Doll. What's her name?
Headland.
Leslie Headland. Yeah. The two of them. And apparently they have been forcing a lot of liberal ideals into Star Wars and basically have been sabotaging it, playing into this political agenda that seems to be overtaking Hollywood at this point. And that actually led to, with The Mandalorian, because Gina Carano, who plays, oh my God, I'm slipping on names.
We all know who you're talking about. The Gina Carano thing superseded Star Wars at this point. It superseded Mandalorian at this point too.
Yeah, so like at one point, Gina Carano tweeted out something that seemed a little, right-leaning, and that was enough for Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars, the IP, to banish her, like saying she was never employed here at Star Wars, and that sent fans in an uproar. And so what's interesting about this is that people are saying that Kathleen Kennedy has been manipulating Star Wars to fit her ideals. And with getting rid of Gina Carano, she can move ahead and basically destroy the goodwill that Jon Favreau has been bringing back with The Mandalorian. Yeah. But fans are responding. And so this actually resulted, from what I heard, a lot of Disney Plus memberships being canceled.
That's true. So like, I'll say this in defense of Kathleen Kennedy. I do hate everything she's done with the Star Wars series, aside from episode 7. However,
I mean, but even episode 7 though, like you killed off Solo. Like,
I thought it was okay if it was doing like the thing is like with Kylo Ren, he was such a cool character, and that was sort of like, okay, if we do this, then he has to go down this really dark path, but then he kind of just got beat up by Rey at every single step, and I was like, so what was the point?
Well, it just they messed up not ever uniting the original trilogy. Like you never had Luke, Leia, and Han in the same room.
That's
and
true.
Just like
they did need something like that.
You needed that fight. You needed 7 to like properly send the new trio off into like off on a good path, and they just like never use 7 as the proper launching pad that it should have been. Although it had some good fan service stuff, but like 7 should have been like goodbye to the original trio, like get that final cool scenes with the 3 of them, and then like
then kill Solo, then kill him off. I agree. That's true. That's how they should have done it. But I mean, like I was saying,
no, I was just gonna say Midnight's Edge pointed that out too, that they never reunited the original 3 stars. But it's like, why would you not want to?
It's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. Like it's like the first thing you do in the script. Now, like it could have been at a lunch table, like put the original 3 stars together. Exactly. That's what the fans wanted to see. So it's like it's obvious.
And they balance each other out too, right? Like Luke is wrong a lot of the time, but Leia and Solo are there to like be like, hey, hold on a second. maybe not doing the right thing here. We've seen from episode 5, Luke knows the wrong thing, does the wrong thing a lot, lost his arm in the process.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah.
I mean, in Kathleen Kennedy's defense, right? Like right now in this day and age in Hollywood, at least during that day and age in Hollywood, it was like, let's try to push representation. That'll probably boost our numbers at the box office. I think in retrospect, it didn't do that, but she's not really a creator, right? She's not a creative. She's more of like a business person. And a business person's going to look solely at trends and just say, what could work for us here?
Well, no, I do, because like, right, for Kathleen is what Feige is to Marvel. And the difference is Feige is a massive, although extremely starch businessman, but he's a big fan.
He actually likes what he does.
He actually likes his stuff, as where Kathleen was like not necessarily the biggest Star Wars geek. She was picked based off her relationship with Lucas and her connections and blah blah blah. But like, so when you don't have someone who's like has a connection to the material, they don't really know. You know, some of that stuff gets lost. Whereas like that stuff, Feige just knows inherently because he's a fan like us.
Yeah, I mean, Kathleen Kennedy has like a horrible track record too, right? She did Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, you know what the funny thing is? Steven Spielberg actually said in an interview that when asked about Kathleen Kennedy, that she was assigned to take notes at meetings, but all she thought she was capable of doing was interrupting someone when they were talking to put out her own ideas.
God, I've heard that one too. I've heard that one. Oh man.
So I don't know.
She lucked into it. I don't know, but yeah, no, she's kind of dragged everything down.
Yeah, it's like now I actually remember who Gina Carano played, Cara Dune. But what's interesting about it is that like with the ideologies that Kathleen Kennedy is trying to push, she's trying to push for strong female leads. But Gina Carano, despite not being politically on the same page, she was like
she was the strongest female lead in a long time. Yeah, and
with getting rid of that, it just showed that that wasn't the kind of strong female lead that they had in mind.
But her firing has less to do with Kathleen's views more so than like Disney's views.
Yeah, Disney's on the super left right now.
It's a top down thing. Like because I'm sure it was her bosses.
I don't know how much of it was like. I would have to imagine she would have some like hand in that though.
Well, the hand in that she's like told what to do. There's a head, and then she is the hand. Whereas like Bob Chapek, who's the current CEO, who's taking over for Bob Iger, I'm sure it was a meeting with shareholders. It was a top down thing. Like, and I'm sure with the money thing as well. Money has to be effective for this decision.
Definitely.
And right now Disney's money is super liberal, so it was bye Cara Dune.
Yeah. And it's like when you have a corporate, like they have like Disney would probably have thousands of people, maybe not thousands, but at least hundreds of people whose sole voice is to what is our brand, what is our image, what is our voice, what is our message.
And the brand is to stay mute on these type of topics.
Exactly. Yeah.
The brand, yeah. That's the brand. Exactly. Stay out of it. You're not
don't talk about things.
Yeah, don't talk about things. Keep a very, generic view on these subjects. You cannot take such a strong stance on any side, on either side. You're supposed to keep it neutral, talk about whatever your job is, and just keep it pushing.
Yeah, it's like that famous quote they attribute to Michael Jordan, but they never prove he said, which is that Republicans buy sneakers too, which is why he would never comment on politics.
Right, you just got to keep it. You got to keep it generic. Can I get it? Yeah, I'm all for. If you want to take a strong opinion on that, so that's great. But you can't do that with certain jobs.
Yeah, I mean, and to think about Kathleen Kennedy's record with Star Wars alone, Episode 7 was all right. I don't think anybody was like super angry about it. I mean, you could have been better. Episode 8 was not a good movie.
No, I think Episode 7 people were just so happy to have Star Wars back. They were just.
I was happy to have Star Wars back.
They would just overlook all the stuff that she did wrong a lot with that first film, and just assumed it would get better.
Because here's the thing, right before Episode 7, we had the prequel trilogy, and the acting, the effects were all pretty much terrible at this point.
Awful.
So to see something with great effects and great performances feels like a breath of fresh air. So even those who felt a little lessened by this movie, still felt a little enthusiastic, I would imagine.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Ethan and I were there together. You see the
Dude.
energy in the room at that Star Wars screening.
Up to this day in my life, there's never been a more excited theater. And I went to the screening for Infinity War and Endgame. I've never seen a more excited theater. I don't know about you, OJ, but that was probably the longest I've ever waited to see a movie. We were standing outside for like an hour or 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
I still remember in the theater, like we had to go like in and then in the back alleyway and then around the alleyway.
Yeah.
That was the line to get into the theater. And the amount of applause I heard when the logo came up, you're right. It was like through the roof.
Yeah, we went to like a special screening. It was the same thing. Like, everyone's wanted to see it. Everybody.
Yeah, no, it was special energy. So I think that energy was enough to carry Kathleen over. And then the second film, they let her. It got like she managed to make not managed because it's also not all Kathleen. It's her fault because she was the leader. But like Rian Johnson, is that his name? Rian Johnson. Yeah, Rian Johnson.
Babyface.
He was also, I don't think, came across as a big fan because he did so many awful choices. Like, just
in his defense too, because I reviewed this movie, and in the review I was like, I think it's good, but I really want to watch it one more time to get an opinion. And on the second watch, you're like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. But he had said, like, in an interview years later, he was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have been so mean to Star Wars fans, for one. But two, it's like, people got to understand, like, this is the story J.J. Abrams set up for me. He just basically said Luke is on an island, and he didn't tell me why. And he made me figure out, like, what would cause him to go away and hide forever? In what world does that make sense, unless he did something really bad? And he had to create this whole backstory for this character. And he felt like that was the only way he could have went.
Yeah. The problem was, like, they had no guide to how the whole trilogy was going to go. They were just like, make one.
It was a rudderless ship.
Which is where the Kathleen blaming comes in, because like, you're the leader, you're the head, like, make the guide. Like Marvel, they sit down and make a 20-year guide, right, for where they want to see these films go for the next 20 years.
Phases.
Kathleen, what the hell are you doing? You better ask Feige for advice. Like, yeah, you clearly just like are winging it.
They had J.J. Abrams come in.
X-winging it, if you will.
X-winging it. They had J.J. Abrams come in, write episode 7, give a roadmap for 8 and 9, and then Rian Johnson just like, I'm not going to do that.
He basically tossed it away just like the lightsaber.
He threw it away. Yeah, exactly. He threw it away. And then Colin Trevorrow was going to do episode 9 completely different as well. They had to get rid of him as well.
And of course, with the tragic loss,
they just went along with that, like, just to make episode 9 completely different, just because, like, I looked at the script, I looked at the concept art, it looked like the most awesome movie that we will never get.
It looked cool. The Colin Trevorrow's treatment looked really nice.
It did. I mean, unfortunately, we had the passing tragedy of Carrie Fisher. Of course, I know that also changed, because I know initially the episode 9 was supposed to have a heavy focus on her. So I know that changed things a lot, but still, like, you didn't bounce back like at all. You had a lot of time to like fix things and fix up the roadmap. Even like, I know we lost Chadwick Boseman, and I'm sure Ryan is, obviously still crafting his film, but like, I just know it's still going to be great. Like, versus like, you lost Carrie, but you still had a lot of working, people to go with. So it's just, even with that, like, it's bad. It's just so many wrong choices. Like, first you kill Solo, then you kill Luke. Like, for what?
Yeah.
And then they did a Solo movie. That was that was awful.
And then Luke, the way Luke died, it was so silly. Like, wasn't even like an epic lightsaber battle.
He just disappeared.
It would have been better if they just like cut away like right before he disappeared. Like, that would have been much more.
So then they could at least had, or if they wanted to bring him back, they probably could have done something,
Yeah, but you know what the thing is, like, the worst offender would have to be episode 9, because as much as episode 8 was, as much as episode 8 like is a bad movie to a lot of people, I don't think it's a terrible.
It's redeemable.
Movie.
It's not a terrible.
I think it has a lot of great ideas on display, but episode 9 was basically a reaction. It was basically like every attempt they could to restructure the film with more Carrie Fisher in it, to reject all the ideas that were even suggested by episode 8, and in a safe place where they think everybody, especially Star Wars fans, will be happy. And it was a massive failure.
Oh, so like episode 8 as a standalone movie is actually not bad. If you cut out the casino portion of that film, it's actually a good movie. It's like a solid 7 or 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Canto Bite. Never forget the words.
I do remember when I went to go see it and I left, I felt very awkward. I'm like, I want to love this, but I'm not sure if I do. Like
honestly,
you said, like I think I need to watch it again, but I was like, I'm not sitting through this again.
That was the hardest movie for me to review I think I've ever reviewed, because I went through it. I'm like, okay, I like 2/3 of this movie. I hated Canto Bite. That was useless. And everything in that movie, everything in that portion was garbage. Every single part of it was garbage. But then I thought, you know what? I liked episode 7. It's Star Wars. How bad can a Star Wars movie be? Then on second watch, I was like, ooh, this is not really good. And I don't know if you guys watch Red Letter Media. We're watching Mr. Plinkett's review and having him tear it apart for 2.5 hours.
Which one? 7 or 8?
8. Both of them. But like episode 8 particularly, was like, this doesn't make sense. They had a whole army, and in the sequence of about 24 hours in this movie, they lose the entire army. They're down to nothing. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's several issues with that film. At least the good thing with 7, like 7 still has some of the magic of the original trilogy, just with Harrison being back and Leia. It just still has some of that lore.
The color palette was also really good in episode 7, I noticed.
Yeah, it was super. Yeah, and it felt very.
Even 8. I'll give 8 credit. The cinematography in 8 was the cleanest of any movie, I think.
Yeah, everyone's saying that episode 9 was beautifully shot, but I'm like, I don't remember any of the visuals in that film.
Episode 9 was straight trash in every respect. I think it
I
was.
I didn't mind that battle between Kylo and Rey, like the water battle. It was like,
it was cool. Okay, but it wasn't breathtaking. It should have been breathtaking.
It wasn't breathtaking, no. I
think then he becomes Ben Solo at the end. I'm just like,
they really screwed Kylo Ren's character, because Adam Driver carried those movies. He was like in episode 7 it was good, but in episode 8 he was the only good actor in that entire movie, and in episode 9 he continued to be the only good actor.
Yeah, I do have to say, like, they pretty much screwed every cast member in this entire trilogy.
Dude,
I think at the end Kylo was just like, please. I think Adam Driver was like, just kill me off so you don't have like the chance to like bring me back. He's just like, I want out of the franchise.
I love Adam Driver. Adam Driver took it on the shoulder. He was just like, nah, I'm gonna do the best job I possibly can. I can tell like a lot of people are mailing it in. I'm gonna just come in and do 100% and carry it. He did. And then he got John Boyega, who I love, man. I wish he would stay on, but I remember they were interviewing him and he was joking around like, I'm not gonna get Disney Plus. Y'all ain't gonna give me a TV show and tell me to be happy. No way. I'm done with this role.
Yeah, but listen, they did him so dirty. They teased the hell out of him being like a Jedi.
I know.
I was so excited to see where he would go after episode 7.
Not just even a Jedi, like a love interest with Rey.
Yeah,
someone at Disney said that it was too risky to put the two of them together.
No, that's actually a lie. I know what happened.
What?
There were edits of the script where they were supposed to end up together, and they didn't realize that they didn't cut that scene out in the edit. There is a version of the movie where they end up together, because early on, like the first third of that movie, Rey is like, "What are you guys talking about? What are you discussing?" And John Boyega's character Finn is like trying to confess his love to her again, and the whole thing gets cut out by the end, and they didn't realize that they left that scene in, or they left that whole interaction. That was like an editing mistake, because that movie is like 3 hours of garbage that they didn't even know what was going on.
And I'm sorry, which one is this? Which movie?
Episode 9.
Oh,
because episode 7 they introduced the love interest. Episode 8 they built up on it a bit, but then they kind of
tried. But they introduced Rose.
I know.
Like a
she got really screwed in the last movie.
Well, because she became like the most unlikable character in the series.
Where she like didn't want anything to do with this. Like she like quit like all social media. Like the fans. That's another thing we gotta talk about. The Star Wars fandom, although a passionate group, they are.
Oh yeah. 50-year-old white guys. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, they are very mean.
I mean,
at times.
they are super mean. And Kelly Tran, like, she didn't deserve any of the hate she got. The character was trash though. Like, they made her play a bad role. Like, they were really like, let's make this person completely stupid and annoying. And then that's kind of where she ended up. The one thing she should not have done, because I think she started egging on fans that were trying to be like, the Rose character is completely stupid. Why are they trying to build this character? She was like trying to defend the character, and I don't think Star Wars fans were having it.
Yeah, well, you know what? This has been happening since, if I recall, when Episode 7 came out, and everyone was commenting on John Boyega appearing in the trailer, how he had to fend that off. So
really, I forgot. I didn't remember that. I was kind of excited to see him. I wanted to see that.
Yeah, well, a lot of Star Wars fans, like, even if they were okay with it, they were still like, huh?
Interesting.
Yeah, so I do have to agree with you, OJ. The fandom gets really, really toxic.
Every fandom is toxic. Every fandom, but Star Wars especially. Ugh.
Yeah.
At time, well, we can't put all the blame on the fandom, but like, yes, the fandom sometimes can be a bit toxic.
Yeah, I'm not placing all the blame on the fandom. I mean, like, it's the people in charge who are making these movies, and they're the ones who are responding, who are basically showing what parts they're listening to.
Exactly. What's another thing? The people making these movies don't respond well to the negative feedback, and they double down on their like bad decisions.
Of course.
It's just like the weirdest thing. It's like everyone needs to be mature. We all have the same goal.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, even in like, no one complained about the Mandalorian season 1. Mandalorian season 2, nobody complained that, you know, female characters are having a strong lead, because they were good characters.
Well, yeah, and also the people behind it are massive fans, like a Feige with Marvel. Like,
Filoni as well.
Filoni and Jon Favreau are huge, massive Star Wars fans. So like, they knew how to cater to both, you know, what the business needed and what the fandom needed. And it's, you know, and typically both things go hand in hand. Like, you'll have a successful show if you follow the lore and do the right thing and give us good, you know.
Yeah, and not have to depend on our nostalgia 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to The Mandalorian, like, I remember watching Chris Stuckman's review of the first season, and he was commenting on the theme song, and that theme song was not done by John Williams. It had no connection to Star Wars, and yet it fits perfectly.
It fits perfectly.
Oh, and also, amazing.
My most controversial Star Wars take is I'm tired of John Williams. I don't want to see him do any more work on Star Wars. He's doing like, all right, I get it. You did good work in the 70s. Just hang it up now, bro. It's done.
You're just saying that because he's the last person in the ship before it sinks.
Yeah. Well, not just that. I'm like a John Williams hater. That's like one of my most controversial film takes. I don't like his scores. I don't think his scores are good. I think they worked in the 70s. I don't think they work anymore. But yeah, I'm kind of tired. Like, 7, 8, and 9, the music sounds the exact same from episode 4, 5, and 6. Doesn't sound any different to me. Or 1, 2, and 3. It's just the same thing over and over again.
Well, honestly, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it doesn't fit the movies, because the movies don't have a structure, so the music can't carry along with it.
Episode 9, maybe the biggest blockbuster flop I've ever seen. Like, the worst $300 million.
I think it's like went way beyond the massive box office flop. It's just an oddity. It's a space oddity.
It's a space oddity. What are you saying, OJ, there?
Oh, I was saying, I was surprised with, I mean, it's so funny, the episode, we're talking about episode 9, they got so desperate, they bought back,
Billy D.
Not Billy D. Well, they him too, but they went back to the original trilogy and like bought Billy D, and they bought, what's the villain's name?
Palpatine. Oh my gosh.
I was like, what? So really, it's like Palpatine. So for the villain for all 9 movies now
is Palpatine.
All 9.
It was Palpatine all along.
All along.
Oh man, I saw a good Star Wars meme on that too. You know, remember in episode 7 when Maz Kanata says the lightsaber calls to you, to Rey, and she was like, I can't tell you why though, and everyone's like, oh, it's because she's a Skywalker. No, it's because she's a Palpatine. That's why Luke Skywalker's lightsaber is calling to her, because she's a Palpatine. That makes sense, right? That's crazy.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Gosh. I remember like groaning in the theater when I heard the line in episode 9, somehow Palpatine returned. I'm like, yeah, you guys couldn't like put in a proper reason there. Like, it pretty much just spoke for the entire story. Somehow Palpatine returned.
It's such a I remember seeing the trailer and seeing that Palpatine was gonna come back, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch this movie. And I did not watch Star Wars in 2019. I watched it in 2020 towards the end, because I was like, I'm not I don't have the strength to watch this movie.
Yeah, well, let me tell you
Yeah,
something.
like,
Go into the
Palpatine.
theaters to see all three of the sequel trilogy. The first one, I left with excitement and hope for the future.
Yes.
The second one, I felt confusion. I felt conflicted. This one,
Yes.
I felt nothing. And like, at least I felt something with the previous film. To walk out of a Star Wars movie and feel that was it, that was like the
I
worst
felt
feeling I could ever
relieved
have.
it was over.
I felt yeah, I guess like I felt like so angry and upset and yeah, I felt relief though. I felt like at least now it's done. They can't affect what they did before anymore. They can't do more damage. It's over.
Yeah, I remember Midnight's Edge was commenting on like there was a rumor going around months beforehand that around that time they were still filming Rise of Skywalker and that they shot like 5 to 6 different endings. So like now with the release of the Snyder Cut, Disney's now saying that there may be
Oh man.
a Abrams cut of Star Wars Episode 9, and I'm like, so which of the 6 endings that they shot is going to be in it?
That's the
Like-
thing though, like Justice League, the original cut was not a good movie, but it wasn't a bad like it wasn't unwatchable, right?
Right.
Episode 9 is literally unwatchable in my opinion.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
you get like
It's
so much
so
narrative
bad.
flash like within the first
Yeah.
30 minutes. Oh,
It's like 4 movies at once.
It's bad, and then for them to title it "The Rise of Skywalker," when it's like
She's a Palpatine technically.
she's a
so.
Palpatine, and then also it's this movie about Ben. Like it was just so like who's there is no Skywalker, so I'm just like I guess this, but they tried to like frame it in the marketing like oh this is the end of like the Skywalker saga.
that was a
in
mistake.
Star Wars. Right, so we've had a Skywalker saga for the last 60 years, like
Yeah. 50.
50 years.
It was on the 50th anniversary of
What
the
is Star
first one.
Wars? What does all 3 trilogies span?
Like,
in terms of
like
like
40
canonical
plus-
timeline.
Yeah,
Canonical timeline.
all 3 trilogies.
It's like more than 60 years, isn't it? You got episode 1. Darth Vader lives like from episode 1 to episode 6 is like 60 years or so.
Right, so an additional, so like 90
additional
years.
30, like 90 years, yeah, roughly. Someone could correct us on that, but it's like just about.
Right, so then like where do we pick up now? And then she takes on the Skywalker maid. Because also then you throw out all you threw out all that stuff with Finn, and then now she's in love with Ben, and.
It's kind of weird.
And by the way, there's something else I need to point about episode 9. Like if we thought the fan servicing was bad in 7 and 8, it got to its lowest point in episode 9. Especially when they find Billy D. Williams at that festival, and he says the line,
Burning
"I got
Man."
a bad feeling about this." I'm like, why the fuck are we still using this line? It's like that line's got to be in every movie along with the Wilhelm scream.
Gosh darn it, you're right. I don't know. It's such a poorly crafted movie.
It's so poorly crafted.
They should have just done Evil Ray. Honestly, that would have worked.
But we only got like 10 seconds of that.
I would have rather seen Evil Ray.
I think we got like 5. I thought they handled Carrie's death. I thought that was okay.
But it was like it still feels like a little underwhelming, like in terms of like.
Oh yeah, it was underwhelming, but like
Star
of course they only have like old footage to work with and all that stuff. Considering that she didn't film anything for this new film, so considering that, I thought that was, if I had to give them some credit somewhere, I thought that was done okay.
Just okay though, like
yeah, they didn't totally botch it.
It's weird. I mean, like, where could they go from here? I think the only thing they could do is just separate themselves, like with the High Republic, put them 1,000 years in the future, forget this ever happened, and move on. And that's what I would say. If I was writing this, I would say 1,000 years, skip it off, start a brand new story, whole new storyline, everything. Just forget this part.
Well, not only that, like not only time within the Star Wars canon, but also time in real life. Like give it a couple of years.
Oh yeah, they're definitely giving it a few years. They're not putting out a film for a while, which is why none of these films have release dates.
Well, I mean, like also with the series too, like even some time after that, just like enough time to just clean the slate.
Well, with the series, they're trying to just give us things to forget how bad. Like they're using the Disney Plus stuff to restore faith in the Star Wars brand, and I think
true.
Watch out, your desperation is time to show.
Yeah, and then hopefully once they had enough good faith built with all these Disney Plus shows and how good they hopefully all come out to be, then we'll be like all ready for a new Star Wars movie. It's like the plan right now.
Well, how about
It's
this,
from
what I
Disney?
hear.
You just fucked up there.
Yeah, another note that maybe I don't know or may not know of is Feige getting a Star Wars movie to produce.
Oh,
Didn't he say he was
please.
done with that
Yes.
though?
Oh, you know, he says a lot of things.
It's been rumored they've been trying to push it on to him to be this the captain in charge of everything.
Well, no, there's no way because he can't do both. But at least I want to give him the opportunity to like do one
Try.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
to just like have a film to produce. So maybe he might produce Taika's film. He's definitely landing in them a lot of his talent from Taika to Jon Favreau.
yeah, Jon Favreau, I think, needs a little bit more reign over this because I think, like, as far
He's doing
as far
good.
as overseeing productions, he did an excellent job with The Mandalorian. Like, where
Absolutely.
it goes from here is going to be in question because of what happened with Gina Carano. But other than that, it was solid because he was hands-on throughout the whole thing.
He was.
I gotta give a lot of credit to Jon Favreau for that. I mean,
Yeah.
look at it this way. Like, going back to The Lion King 2019, his heart was not there at all. You can tell he was much more invested in The Mandalorian.
Exactly. And he's got Dave Filoni with him. That's a guy who spent like literally 15 years now on just Star Wars, more or less.
Yeah, it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, it's not in heaven. Lion King. Which,
Oh man, I was sent to review that, Ethan, and let me tell you, I was so annoyed throughout the
Oh my gosh. I
it's a
remember
shot for shot remake.
I remember like watching that in like 2020. I watched it last year during COVID, and I was like, people said this was good, right? This was like supposed to be a good movie. And I remember watching like, wow, when's
It
this
made
supposed to get good?
Let me tell
so
you,
much money, though.
Star Wars can get very toxic at times. Disney fans can get a little too optimistic at times.
Every fan base has got its problems. Every single fan base has
like
got
especially
huge
like the early
problems.
release reviews for Aladdin, where it's like they labeled it as mostly positive, and I watched it, I'm like, it's fucking awful.
That's like the reviewer's curse, though, right? Like whenever you see a movie early, you're always giving it a better review than you think it's
But
going to
you're
be.
still actually you're still in the minority in that group. Like most people thoroughly enjoyed Aladdin. I did not. I love
It's okay.
I love Guy Ritchie.
3 words though: Will Smith genie. That's the legacy of Aladdin, right? Will Smith genie. Enough said.
So where do you guys hope to see Star Wars go moving further? Like what are your last hopes to kind of sum it up? Like where would you like to see the brand go? Like what would be your next steps if you were a Kathleen?
I would say finish off the TV shows. Those are going good. But everything on their current slate, don't plan anything beyond that. Just let it go. Let those series rest for 10 years, because in 10 years time, in like 2030, if we heard a Star Wars movie coming out, we'd all be like,
Okay,
oh, I really want to see
no
this.
one's taking a 10-year break on
I
a
think
Star
they
Wars
should.
IP. No, it's just like as a business person, you're not like going to take a 10-year break and like not put out content just because it makes you too much money. Even when the stuff is bad, it still makes you a lot of money.
That was the problem with Disney acquiring Star Wars, because like if I recall correctly, there was like a good like 10-year plus gap between the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, and then the prequel trilogy with this, and now we're just going to get fatigued.
It's more than that, in fact. It's like 15 years.
But I agree with you, Ethan. I would I would let the shows do their thing for now and then develop the movies, and I would also let people like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni do what they're doing, because they know the territory. So I would trust them.
I think running a franchise into the ground is not going to be good for them long term. It depends on, like, when it comes to the business thing, it's going to depend on the CEO, right? And the movies right now and the TV shows are such a huge part of their business that they kind of have to milk it. But if they can afford to save that, then they should save it. Right now, you're right. They can't afford to, because they have to pivot towards digital, towards streaming, because the parks aren't bringing the money in these days. But in
as if
2-3 years,
Edge
it'll
didn't
change.
suffer enough.
Oof, Galaxy's Edge. That was a
just
weird
to clarify, the parks are doing pretty well. We got that report not too long ago.
They're coming back, but they're not
they're coming
coming.
back.
They're coming back. They had a
And
huge tough
And
point.
there's a
during
lot of
last year.
plans for the park too. So
Yeah.
don't sleep
How much
on
you want to bet those photo albums you get, like for every photo you took with a mascot? How much you want to bet that went up to like $10,000 or something?
No.
No.
The
But
parks are going to be the main part of their business. That's definitely going to be the case if they can get that going. But now things are looking good. Vaccinations.
yeah,
So
the
they will
parks
try to
they've
invest
got
back
a
in.
lot of cool things from the parks too with Avengers Campus, So just also be on the lookout for that. Sorry, I'm just getting some notes from Iger. Be on the lookout for that. And then
Forget Iger. I want to know what Feige's been telling you. You two have a history.
Well, one point I want to make on this. I
Go
think
ahead.
Transformers is more profitable than Star Wars right now.
No.
You don't think so? Like
Bumblebee didn't like do that well at the box office.
besides Bumblebee, like because
every film in this new trilogy made $1 billion.
same for Transformers, didn't it? Like the Chinese numbers are insane.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, but the box office for each movie in the new sequel trilogy got significantly lower because the first one made like almost $2.5 billion, I think.
That was one of the highest grossing movies ever, like third now all time.
And then down to the third one, it made only $1 billion. It barely made $1 billion.
Yeah, but still, it made $1 billion. I don't think any of the Transformers movies have made $1 billion.
All I'm just saying is that it's a steep decline from the first movie.
Oh, I thought the Transformers movies were up there in the billions.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fast and Furious, they clear $1 billion.
Yeah,
I figured these guys were there.
Pretty bad business.
The Fast sequels are, the Fast franchise is like strong, but no, the Transformers franchise is not in the $1 billion club.
Oh, you're right. Shoot, they don't do any money in America. But they do good money in China, so they keep making them.
Yeah. To sum it up, I'll take like portions of what you both said. I think they definitely finish out. Well, one, Kathleen's contract is going to be up soon, and she will no longer be in charge of the Star Wars ship.
Thankfully.
But at the same time, her contract's only been extended because a lot of people don't want the job. So that's also another issue, figuring out who's going to be a good captain. We don't know if Jon Favreau wants the job, or these have been rumors of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni co-leading the ship, but there's discussions if they both want it or have enough experience. Well, Filoni being more the creative type, but I think the plan is finish out what they're currently doing, build faith up with these successful Disney Plus shows, and then do a couple solo movies, like one-off movies that like a Rogue One type stuff, where it's just like these singular movies, and then after those movies are hopefully hits, then do the next trilogy.
Yeah. Don't make the same mistake that the Pink Panther series did.
Panther. I don't want to see some more solo movies though. I want to just see TV shows and then one more trilogy to try to restart everything. Because I feel like the solo movies, like they're not that good. Like Rogue One, fine. That was a passable movie to me. It's good. The Han Solo movie was awful. And those are the only two they did. They had to cancel the follow. They were doing one more, an Obi-Wan story, and they had to cancel it.
Yeah, weren't they doing a Boba Fett one as well?
They were, but exactly. And those both became shows, and I think shows are the best way to go with them.
Yeah, they are going to do them. They are coming.
Yeah, exactly.
The solo movies are coming.
Another promise by OJ.
Let me tell you what's going to happen then. These are not suggestions.
Yeah.
The solo movies are coming.
Along with the new Avengers.
Right. Let me just go ahead and clarify. This is the plan. What I just said is not the suggestion. It's actually what is going to happen. Yeah. And then all we can hope for is that the content's good. That's only like
that's
fingers
all
crossed.
We could hope for.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. This is going to be good. But what I just said is happening.
I think it's like the hurdles they have to pass through to get that to work. I feel like it's going to be too hard. I don't see a world in where this is going to work out. It's too hard.
If the content's good, it's going to work out.
Yes, that's true. If they have a good story, good characters.
If the stories are good, if the shows are all solid, then it would work out.
As viewers, we won't know until we've seen it.
That's true.
Yeah. So this will work out in their favor if the shows and movies we get are good. So that's all very TBD, and we just have to pray with the force. That the content is
I'm at one
going
with
to
the
be
force. The
stellar.
force is with me.
I think everyone has so little faith.
Definitely. That's me.
That they're going to get it right. But we're also going to check it out. So we'll just see. I think but the next piece of content we're getting is Bad Batch. I think which will be, the animated stuff for the most part has all been really solid. There hasn't been like a bad animation project yet. The Bad Batch doesn't seem that interesting to me. Like I don't really know if I care about this group, but it's like here's something to like hold you over. Like here's like some like singular story, like that's like kind of interesting in the canon and the lore of like people we know and things we know already. But it's just to hold us over. I think the main thing we're not getting is still like I think Andor, or the Book of Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett, December this year.
So we'll see. And I mean, it's also like not what we were expecting. We were expecting another Mando season, but like I think the Book of Boba Fett will be solid. So
hopefully,
yeah.
So far, I mean, I have no reason to doubt their TV stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So far, so we're still. I think we're also a little sour about how bad these movies were. Just as well.
Yeah.
Even talking about it now, I'm regaining my sourness. I'm losing some of that good Mando faith.
Well, I would say it's not just the movies; it's also about the management.
Yeah, the management just a lot of it doesn't care about us, about fans.
Oh yeah, it's not just on these creators. It's it's a top-down situation. Hopefully, well, yeah, I think on the side, I think it's Filoni and Favreau. So I think they're going to be Kathleen's going to be following their lead.
Hopefully.
From what I'm hearing.
That's a big hopefully.
Yeah. I think they're going to be following in their lead, and so if they are helping to shape this current vision, then I think we'll be fine.
I think until then, we could just enjoy our R2D2 rice cookers, because that seems to be like all they're pushing these days, just merch every which way they can, and that's bringing them money.
Yeah, and that's and that's ultimately what this is all about.
Exactly. How do we sell more things?
Yeah, exactly, and make more moolah.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for joining us and breaking down Star Wars. Have faith, guys, and may the Force be with you.
With you.